Mayor and Council, it was approximately 13 months ago when we had our last City Council meeting here. That was March 16th of 2020. We've been out since then. And so after this year, I'd like to kind of recognize the time that we've had. I want to first of all, of course, tell everybody in our community how sad we are about the impacts of COVID-19 in our city. And many of you lost loved ones and have had folks impacted in a negative way, both with their own personal health and also economically in our city. And I just want you to know your city is with you and has done what we can to try to lessen the burden on all of us. I want to tell you, though, how proud I am of the work done by this council and our staff to respond to this epidemic. Next slide, please. The swift action by the council and staff maximized our ability to respond to the needs of our community during this time. I'd like to report that nearly $13 million was spent to provide support to members of our community. We were able to fully utilize every single dollar of the $8.98 million of federal CARES funding that came available to us and dipped into the city's reserves to provide support before any other community did in our business community to make sure they could make that rent payment in April. We have achieved a continuity of service for local government, been able to continue with most all of the operations, the important services to our city. We've balanced our spending. We balanced our budget in 2020. We go into 2021 with a balanced budget as well, even though there have been reduced revenues. We supported our businesses and community through numerous programs, and we are very proud of the fact that we did not lay staff off, did not furlough staff. We repurposed those staff for other types of activities in our city that served, I believe, our community very well and kept those folks employed during this tough time. Next slide, please. I'd like to highlight efforts taken by staff in this council over the past year. The information will be organized into six areas. The first of those areas, next slide, will be the COVID-19 response and our emergency operations. On the day of the first reported case in Westminster, staff immediately stood up an emergency operations center and a state of emergency was declared by myself. We immediately formed a policy group to guide the EOC and later long-term recovery operations transitioned our EOC to the long-term recovery operations group within our workforce. COVID-19 testing at Fire Station number 1 for fire, police, and public works and all utility employees began. We opened a rapid testing site, one of the first in the Front Range in the MAC parking lot, and that operated from July through December with a focus on serving the uninsured and those experiencing homelessness. I'm really proud that we specifically dedicated some resources to making sure that those that were the most marginalized during this time had the support of testing. Thank you to the Park and Recreation Libraries staff for repurposing to provide that support. We opened a regional COVID-19 testing site for the community in the Fat Cats parking lot at the Westminster Promenade, and that has continued to be open. Next slide. Many changes were made to our facilities, and of course we see the benefit of that tonight, allowing us to come back into these chambers and have a council meeting, our courtrooms with at the municipal courthouse with plexiglass barriers, video conferencing, and all the technology related to providing a safe and a communicative opportunity for people to continue to connect with their local government. We added needlepoint ionization and airborne pathogen and contaminant reduction technology that's actually working in this building today, and will make this a safer than previous experience when we're able to come back with all of our community members coming to our meetings. Staff implemented many new cleaning protocols, as many of the community did. We were one of the first cities in the Front Range to take on this issue of masking back in May, and I think that has played well out for us as a city. Next slide. A good deal of time was spent with community and engagement. There were weekly updates, multiple live stream webinars in the workplace. We had 18 live stream webinars for our employees to make sure they were informed as to the policies of the city. We had over 10 million impressions on our COVID-19 messaging alone through print, digital, and telephone call contact. The reach of our messaging was a 39% increase, and our overall engagement, a 26% increase when you look at the difference between March 20 and March 21. The Parks Rec Libraries Department, again, repurposing employees, started a program that we titled the Public Health Ambassador Program, which provided information to neighborhoods and to the highest areas of our city that had COVID-19 high reporting rates. We went out into the business community to make sure they had information about how to continue their businesses. We had over 50 city council meetings, study sessions, special council meetings, and special council study sessions, which were conducted virtually with not one single glitch. Well, maybe one. Thank you for your patience to the public and to the city council. And thank you for your resilience, information technology, and other staff, including the city clerk's office and all who made this all happen. I like to call it magic because I think it was really magic that made all this come together. Thank you very much. Next slide. Our business assistance program is remarkable. We gave nearly $3.6 million in business grants to community small businesses that were really struggling during a time that, we were able, I believe, to help many of them stay open. And for those that have suffered and even had to close your businesses, our thoughts are with you. And we'll do whatever we can moving forward to make sure that you have great employment in our city, and we can do we'll do whatever we can to get you back on your feet. We distributed 30,000 face coverings to 164 businesses. I'm giving you a lot of data here today, and I won't go through all of it. Just so much information here. We'll have this information on our website, but suffice it to say, we just went through everything. We turned every stone over we could to try to make this as painless as possible to our community. Our community social recovery program provided housing assistance to folks, $625,000 through partnerships with Maker Housing, the Foothills Regional Housing folks on the Jefferson County side, and an additional $220,000 in assistance to Growing Home, the Human Services Board Council, and the Westminster Legacy Foundation. Thank you for your support in doing that. There were more than 10,000 meals delivered to Westminster seniors and 10,000 boxes of food that were distributed at City Park Recreation Center. And I believe 72% of those folks that picked boxes of food up were unemployed. So we really got to the people who needed this help. And of course, we modified recreation library programming. Our Parks and Rec and Libraries people would tell you that those are important. Those are important opportunities for folks. People using our open space system and our parks was unprecedented. And of course, we got back into our libraries and we provided some virtual opportunities at this point. Many, many changes to technology. We continued to do building inspections. In fact, when our building inspectors couldn't go inside of our rental properties in order to provide rental housing inspections, they shifted their responsibilities to catch up with a backlog of housing inspections, roofing inspections we had from the tremendous hail events that we had in the previous 3 years. So I'm really proud of the work that all those folks did. That's a summary of all of the work that was done this year. I want you to take a look at the website, people who are listening, and you can read a lot more than I gave you today. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this today. I want to thank our city employees. This was a rough year for them. I'll tell you, I heard along the way, all these city workers and many of them not able to work, and were they able to stay busy? I'm just going to tell you from my viewpoint, being in work like this for over 40 years, I think our productivity in this organization was probably up 20% during this time. People really sacrificed, and unfortunately, they didn't disconnect maybe as often as they should have. I know for the first 100 days or so of this event, back to March 16th or so, that we had many, many people who worked without a day off. So thank you, as with many workforces in our community, for what you did to work through this. Thank you for council for working together so well to help us and support us in every way that we needed it. And it's not over yet. Wear your mask, wash your hands, socially distance. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for the opportunity to provide this update.